Welcome to today's episode, where we're taking a deep dive into every major Black Templar crusade. This particular Space Marine chapter gives exactly 0 fucks about rules, or, well, anything really. The Black Templars are the definition of big dick energy in power armor. These guys treat rules the way they treat heretics, with fire, fury, and complete ignorance. Guilliman's Codex Astartes? They skimmed it once, used it as toilet paper, then mailed it back to him and told him to piss off. Their priorities in life are simple. Firstly, they must worship Big E as a divine sugar daddy, sucking his metaphorical and spiritual dick. The second is their racism. They've made it their life's mission to hunt down minorities, mutants, xenos, psychers, basically anything that isn't 100% Emperor approved. So, buckle up as we scream through 10,000 years of the Black Templars' holy rampage, crusade by crusade, all fueled by the pathological need to commit hate crimes in the Emperor's name. The Black Templars were truly born in the wake of the Horus Heresy, thanks to that Excel-loving bitch, Roboute Guilliman. Robbie G was the one that slapped together the Codex Astartes and basically banned any chapter from having more than 1,000 members. There was some beef, but eventually the primarchs agreed, and thus, the Black Templars were born. Their first big gig was the Great Scouring. It was a 7-year-long rage bender across the galaxy where loyalist space marines hunted down their traitor cousins following Horus's defeat. The ones that didn't get their ass destroyed were yeeted into the Eye of Terror, and their existence was erased from Imperial records. You see, this purge was actually ordered by Big E himself, before he turned into a big yellow vegetable. So off went the newly founded Black Templars, freshly forged and foaming at the mouth to die for the Emperor. They were led by High Marshal Sigismund, who radiated so much big dick energy, he would make Andrew Tate look like a Sigma. Their first official crusade happened in the Donatello system, where they found a stubborn little Night Lord warband who apparently didn't get the memo about dying or fleeing. So, the Black Templars did what they do best, purged them with holy rage, chain swords, and 0 chill. Of course, this shit show didn't end there. Remember, this is 40K, where hope and peace don't exist, and thus begun the Black Crusades led by a man named Abaddon the Despoiler. He was the new dollar store Horus, even rocking the same receding hairline. These campaigns saw Abaddon lead the traitor Chaos Space Marine warbands in the Eye of Terror on a direct assault against the Imperium of Man. The purpose of these attacks was to show the Imperium and the Chaos gods that he was the rightful and worthy successor to Horus Lupercal. Abaddon kicked off his first Black Crusade the only way he knew how, by hurling his Chaos junk straight at the Cadian Gate. Of course, this didn't go unnoticed. High Marshal Sigismund, wielding his 12-inch dick, rolled in with the Black Templars aboard the Eternal Crusader to intercept. The Black Legion assaulted their flagship, and sure enough, the two legends would finally meet. Sigismund met Abaddon, and they would engage in a manly duel to the death. Siggy, being old as fuck, ended up getting killed, but not before he rammed his big black sword deep into Abaddon, like what I did to your mom. But in the end, plot armor's a bitch, and Abaddon survived, and the Black Templars ultimately lost this battle. However, Siggy did manage to roast Abaddon one last time before his death, telling him that he'd die like his bitch-ass dad, Horus. After the Black Templars had enough fun with Horus Jr., they had a taste of the orcs during the War of the Beast. This wasn't your average green skin infestation. It was the biggest orc sausage fest the Imperium had ever seen, and it nearly wiped humanity off the map. Things got so apocalyptically stupid that the Imperial Fists had to break out the Last Wall protocol, basically their panic button for when Terra is about to get leveled. All the Imperial Fists' successor chapters, including the Black Templars, were told to stop playing Crusade Simulator and get their asses back home. Not only did the Black Templars throw themselves into the meat grinder, at the end of the conflict, they even donated some of their precious Crusaders to help resurrect the completely extinct Imperial Fists. Who said those zealous religious fuckers didn't have a heart, eh? Aside from smashing green skinheads, the Black Templars also had the pleasure of dealing with an alien cyborg called the Krakduk. Basically what you'd get if the Terminator and Professor X had a baby and dropped it on its head repeatedly. This abomination enslaved over 1,300 human worlds with its overpowered psychic abilities. The Black Templars were obviously not a fan of this, so they showed up, kicked him in his metal balls, and then killed his ass. But there was a problem. Cacodominus's psychic death scream was so fucking loud that it echoed through the warp and deep-fried the brains of 1 billion astropaths like popcorn. As a result, the Astronomican's signal got messed up. Millions of Imperial ships got lost and never returned. Meanwhile, thousands of inhabited planets were left in the dark with no communication to the government on Terra. Eventually, these planets reverted to feral barbarism. This tragic event became known as the Howling. The Black Templars really fucked up on this one. After dealing with the psychic robot, the Black Templars continued on with their hobbies of hunting down heretics that sullied the Emperor's name, or genociding any Xeno scum they encountered. For the most part, they rarely concerned themselves with what was happening back on Terra since there were too many bureaucrats, but then came M36, the Age of Apostasy, which was a mini-civil war within the Imperium. Basically, an evil pope named Goj Van Dyer decided he was both head of state and head of the imperial cult, and ruled through a delightful mix of paranoia and fear, and murder, of course. Again, the Black Templars typically wouldn't have given a flying fuck, but they eventually found out that Goj Van Dyer actually bombed a few of their chapter keeps in the solar system. This pissed them off, so they went on a little Terran Crusade, launching an assault against Van Dyer and laying siege on his palace. Eventually, the evil pope gets assassinated by his own bodyguard, and the Black Templars return to their regular schedule of Emperor-approved galactic genocide. During one of their regularly scheduled genocides in M39, the Black Templars were handed the task of liberating the rebel worlds of Jerulas, a little star system that had been out of the Imperium's influences for too long. Things were going great. The Black Templars were doing what they do best, spreading the Emperor's love through flamers and chainswords. That is, until they ran into the hive cities of Jerulas itself. The Black Templars kept throwing themselves into the cities, but they just kept taking L after L. They underestimated the defenses and brutality of the hive cities. Eventually, they realized that maybe, just maybe, brute forcing their way in needed a bit more force. And that led to the invention of the Land Raider Crusader by the Black Templars. It was designed specifically to crash through enemy defenses and vomit out angry, sword-waving demigods straight into the fray. It turned the tide. In fact, it was so great, even the Ultramarines, who were egotistical giga-chads, started using it so much that the adeptus mechanicus had no choice but to officially recognize it. In M41, the Black Templars carried out their 9,836th crusade against the Scythor fiends of the Ghoul stars. These Xenos were weird little fuckers, since they basically looked like if a crystalline chandelier grew legs. Now, every sane person in the Imperium figured this was suicide. No one who went into the Ghoul stars ever came back, since every Imperial expedition that had been sent to this part of space never returned. But the Imperium obviously didn't know how horny the Black Templars were to eliminate minorities. Led by High Marshal Helbrecht, they wiped out the outer planets of the Scythor fiends in less than 8 years. But by the time they got to the capital city, they found it deserted. The Black Templars were pissed that they had nobody to commit genocide on, so they attempted to nuke the planet. However, for some unknown plot armor reason, they couldn't do any damage to it. While they were busy sulking, the Black Templars were called on to help on the hive world of Armageddon. Armageddon was under siege by the largest orc horde the Imperium had ever faced. Their fleet alone outnumbered Imperial starships 6-1, and at the heart of this invasion was the infamous warlord Ghazghkull Thraka. Ghazghkull was no ordinary greenskin. He was the Genghis Khan of the orcs. Smart by orc standards, he managed to unite countless war bosses under his banner, forging a colossal green booger army. With brutal experience from previous defeats, he had gained a keen understanding of Imperial tactics, making him a far deadlier threat than ever before. Over 20 Space Marine chapters, including the Black Templars, deployed to Armageddon's mountains and waste plains to confront the orcs. While the Templars waged brutal ground campaigns, their greatest impact came in orbit. High Marshal Helbrecht, a veteran fleet commander, led the combined Space Marine starships, while Marshals Ricard and Amalrich took their Crusade's planet side. The war in space was fierce. Helbrecht led multiple boarding assaults on Orc warships, eventually launching a massive, unprecedented attack with his entire Crusade and Sword Brethren to destroy a Space Hulk. However, his big balls would ultimately be their undoing. During the assault, the Emperor's champion, Vosper, challenged the Orc war boss and was slain. Their champion's fall was the turning point of the battle. The Black Templars were forced to retreat, losing over half their number, and even Helbrecht himself was critically wounded. Fortunately, the battle on the ground went far better. Chaplain Grimaldus led over 100 Black Templars in a last stand at the Temple of the Emperor, which was a massive shrine built by the imperial cult that the Black Templars basically worshipped and would cut off their balls for. The fighting was so brutal that the temple eventually collapsed, burying everyone inside. All were presumed dead until the next day, when Grimaldus crawled out of the rubble and told everyone to keep praising Big E. After the Third War for Armageddon, Helbrecht and the Black Templar fleet swore an oath to hunt down and kill Ghazghkull once and for all. And that concludes today's episode. If you want to learn more about the Black Templars, please see the video here. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Please feel free to comment below on which topic I should cover next. If you'd like to support the channel, there's a Shopify store linked in the description for Warhammer LEGO figurines. I also have a Discord if you're interested in joining.